Hi everyone, I'm back today to show you how to make a little canvas picture with three-dimensional butterflies on it. An easy project. I'm just going to run through the different materials that you'll need to do it. So the first thing you'll need is some kind of a canvas. It can be a canvas board or one of these type of canvases mounted onto wood. It can be any size, any shape, but these are more unusual shapes, so kind of nice to work with. You need some Bostik glue, some strong glue, possibly some Grit stick, a pencil, a marker, rubber. I put a couple of pairs of scissors here. A medium pair of scissors is good. A little pair of scissors also quite handy. Some brushes, acrylic paints, and then these outliners are also sometimes handy to work with. On this side we've got your papers for making the butterflies out of. Here I've chosen kind of butterfly-ish looking papers, purples, pinks, blues, turquoises, and a little bit of gold foil type paper for doing some embellishments, and also some plain paper possibly can be used as well, and some white paper to begin with to be making your templates from. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on the canvas. I put out a little bit of the acrylic paint, not too much, as most of you know acrylic paint goes quite a long way, and I'm just going to paint the background of the canvas before we apply the butterflies. Oh, some water, I forgot to mention the water. So the colours I've chosen here are kind of turquoises, a little bit of white, some pink, and a kind of metallic one there, just to create some kind of a background. I'm going to do something really simple, a kind of a spirally effect, and but you could easily do an image of some kind, like a little cityscape or a landscape, something that you felt you'd like to put, even some grasses or some flowers. But I'm going to do something really, really simple just to show you. So take your acrylic paint, and we're going to be working with blending the colours here, and I'm going to work with a kind of a spirally effect. So I'm going to start up in this corner, and see that I'm just blending the colours slowly together, creating a kind of a spirally circle on one side. I'm going to bring it right down to cover the whole of the canvas. If you do decide to go for something more of a kind of a landscape behind, I definitely recommend keeping it quite simple, because the butterflies are your main part of the image. You don't want the background to be too busy or too cluttered, so keep it nice and simple. These kinds of backgrounds work well because they don't take attention away from the actual butterflies. So working right the way to the edge of the canvas. Put a tiny bit of pink in, just to add another colour. There needs to be a little bit of interest on one side. pretty close now, so if there's any areas that look like the paint looks a little bit thin or not as worked as you'd like it to look, or something that stands out you need to go back to, very easy just to go back into it. I'm just using a flat brush here, but you can also use these lovely fan brushes, are very nice. A lot of people like to use them and it gives them a really soft effect. You can just brush over the top with the fan brush. And see how nice and soft that is. And we can also add the more glistening sort of paint, metallic paint, towards the end, just here and there, to give once again a little bit of interest to the painting. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that now. I'm going to leave that to dry and then we'll work on the butterflies. Okay, thank you. Okay, for the next part of this project we're going to be making the butterflies. So what you need to start off with is some white paper, pencil, and an idea of what your butterfly will be looking like. I've just put a couple here that I did already just to show you. But the way I did it was to take my white paper, fold the paper over. Makes it easier maybe if you cut down just roughly like that, so you've got a folded piece of paper. Now you're going to draw the two wings. The reason we do it on a folded piece of paper is it's a way to get your butterflies even on both sides. So the two wings, the top wing is usually larger than the bottom wing. A little bit there for the tail and a little bit there for the head. And then all I'm going to do is and you have your butterfly shape. The size of the butterfly that you choose to cut out has to fit well with your canvas. So I'm just going to reach over and get the canvas we painted earlier and show you what I'm imagining. I think that maybe 3 butterflies would look nice on this canvas. So I have a large, a small and a slightly more medium. Where you place the butterflies is up to you, so I'm just imagining what sizes I need. So this is the largest one, so when you do your 2 next butterflies, make them slightly smaller than this one. And as you can see, this one's got slightly different shaped wings. That's okay too. You could do dragonflies as well, which have thinner wings. Maybe even spend a bit of time looking at butterflies in books or on the internet and see if you can find butterflies that you really like. So when you've got your 3 butterfly shapes cut out, these are just the templates. We're going to transfer this onto the coloured paper. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually make 2 of each, one slightly bigger than the other. So I'm going to start with the largest one here. Maybe I'll use the marker, you can see it a little bit more easily. And I'm going to draw directly around the template. Okay, there's the first one. The second one, I'm going to make it slightly larger. And I'm going to use plain colour that goes well with the colour I've chosen for the top wings. So once again I lay the butterfly down And this time I'm going to draw not right up to the template, but just around it, so that I get a slightly bigger butterfly. And you have to be sure that the size of the butterfly is still going to fit on your canvas. You won't want it to be too large. I think that fits okay. So now I'm going to cut out these two butterflies and show you how they work together. When you have drawn onto paper like this with a marker and it's quite dark, try and cut just inside the line so that you don't see the line that you've drawn. The other way, of course, is to turn the paper over and work on the other side, because you don't want to necessarily see the marker, the line of the marker. Fold it over. So I've got that one. And then do the top wings. Once again, you could cut this by folding the paper in half like that. Okay, which means that when you cut it out, you'll have exactly the same shape on either side. Probably easier to do it this way, in fact, because that way you know it's going to be the same. It can be quite hard to cut things that are identical on both sides, but this project probably looks quite nice if you can get it as even as possible. Okay, so that's the second butterfly, and as you can see, one fits just slightly inside the other. It will fit onto the canvas like this. Okay. We might even put one side down, and it creates a kind of a shadow behind it. So now I'm going to make the other butterflies, the different sizes. This is the medium sized one. Another way, you fold the paper, lie your butterfly alongside. Draw around. These papers are actually really nice because they've got patterns on both sides, and the pattern on one side generally sort of matches or complements that on the other side. And then for the backing of this one, maybe this one would be nice. Fold your paper over. This side. This one I'm going to make them the same. Will I make them the same size? No, I'll make it slightly bigger, like I said before. And once again, you've got two butterflies that fit together. Okay, so we've got one in bluey purples, one in a kind of a pinky colour. Maybe this one. This is the smallest one now. You can see there's a kind of a lighter colour under there. Butterfly. I think it might be nice to try with this bit is quite interesting because it's kind of darker, so you can see how there are different colours on these papers which you could use to your advantage. I'm just going to fold it there on the very darkest colour. Yeah, the lighter one I think, but we're going to put some embellishments on as well. So the next thing that we do is to decide where you, oh, those two would look really nice. So you can, you know, make your decisions as you go along, you know, you don't have to stick with the original plan. Mess around with it a little bit. I'm actually liking the fact that those two little ones complement each other at the top, so I think we'll leave it at that. And I'm going to show you how to add the butterflies to the canvas. So take your first one, your bottom one, and apply the glue just on one side. Oops, this glue's getting a bit old, but I don't like to throw things away. So, getting very old. We'll get another one later. I'll use the Pritt stick for it. There we go. Actually, that's probably just as easy with this one. So you can see how when I place these butterflies, I put them slightly to an angle. Okay? So I'm placing that one down. And the next one I'm going to put at a slightly different angle. That gives the impression that the butterflies are flying. You have a little bit of time to make your mind up, so, you know, use your best judgment as you work your way around as to which situation you'd like to place the butterflies. Okay, so for the final part of this, we're going to put the butterflies together. But with the top butterfly, I'm not going to glue a whole side of the wing down like I did with the other one. What I'm going to do is use this kind of glue and just glue along the spine of the back of the butterfly. And then I'm going to position it down in the centre and just hold it for a second or two in position. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to create that feeling of the wings coming up on both sides. Same on this. Just glue along the spine. Lay it down in position and just hold it there with your fingers. Now these two, you can see I separated them at the last minute, which I think looks nice. I love this dark one in the distance. It gives real depth to it. It's another thing to kind of work through when you're doing this kind of work. It's just to decide what looks good in the moment. But I'm going to finish off with a little bit of embellishment. Now these kinds of things, you have to be careful with it. Some people like lots of, you know, shiny stuff, but I like just a touch. So if you're going to use embellishments, these little tiny ones, jewel type things, are quite handy because they're just so small and they don't take over the entire thing. So use them sparingly. Okay. With this one, I'm going to cut a little bit of gold foil. This is a little bit of foil paper I had lying around. So once again, you want to cut little shapes to embellish your butterfly. I always think with this kind of stuff, less is more. It's nice to have it, but you don't want to overdo it either. A little bit of glue. Again, maybe something on this top butterfly, but I'm just trying to think what would look nice. Would gold be too much? Actually, no, I think it might be alright. I'll try it. I really like the fact that that little dark one looks like it's slightly in the distance. Let's try that. I think that's nice. Just enough. I'll make another little one. Now, that's probably enough on the embellishments. Can bring that one right up now. It's stuck down. But I can see that the spine of the butterfly, the body of the butterfly, would look nice if it was completed. This is where these guys come in real handy. I hope I'm not going to have the same trouble with this as I did with the... I might do, because they're getting quite old. Let's try the copper one. Oh, the copper's good. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of the copper. To put in the body. You can see that I'm kind of making the body a little bit fatter in the middle and a little bit narrow at the top, which is how the body would be. Okay. Trying to think, does it need anything else? Try tiny bit of black maybe. These little pens are great for doing dots with. Really, they're so nice. You can just give that little bit of a touch, which will perhaps give a little bit more depth to the body. I think that's probably enough. Now, you know, make these your own. Do what feels right. Like I said, you could have a tree in the background, you could have grasses or flowers, a landscape, even a very delicate little cityscape with sky above would look beautiful. There you go.